Before we knew Jesus, life felt empty and dark, like wandering without direction. But God brings light into our chaos, giving meaning to our pain and clarity to our path. When you're confused, let Him speak light into your soul. We all have moments when we take the fruit, when we choose pride, lust, or lies. But even in our biggest mistakes, God comes close. He covers us with grace, not shame. His love doesn't leave. Sometimes obeying God looks foolish to others. But when the storms hit, His grace is our boat. No matter the flood of fear, anxiety, or pressure, those who walk with God always rise above it. Together to build a tower to heaven, trying to glorify themselves. But God confused their language and scattered them, stopping their prideful plans. We often try to build our tower, careers, fame, success, without God. But when everything collapses, it's not the end. It's God's gentle way of pulling us back to what really matters. Him. God called Abraham to leave everything he knew and follow a promise. Though he didn't have all the answers, Abraham obeyed. His faith became the seed of a nation. When God asks you to step into the unknown, don't wait for all the answers. Like Abraham, trust Him even when the future is foggy. Your yes today could bless generations tomorrow.
She laughed at the thought. A baby, at her age. But God had the final laugh. When He promises, you can bet joy is coming. Sometimes, waiting feels like punishment. But delays aren't denials. God often delivers joy in the seasons we've already given up on. He always shows up, even when it feels late.
Abraham raised the knife, but heaven stepped in. It was never about death. It was about trust. God provided then, and He still does now. Sometimes God asks us to let go of what we love most, not to take it, but to test if we'll trust Him more than our gifts. Surrender opens the door to supernatural provision. Alone, afraid, running. That's when Jacob saw heaven open. God doesn't wait for perfect moments. He meets us in rock-bottom ones. In your loneliest moments, God speaks the loudest. Even in failure or fear, His promises still reach you. He meets us not at the top, but right where we lie. They took His coat. They couldn't take His calling. Joseph's dreams didn't die in a pit, they started there. Jealousy, betrayal, and setbacks might mark your beginning, but they don't define your ending. Like Joseph, your favor may cost you, but God's dream still stands. He was framed, forgotten, but never forsaken. From prisoner to prime minister, because God never left His side. Your lowest season may be God's training ground. Like Joseph, you might be unseen for a while, but you're never unprepared. Your setback is your setup. He thought life had passed him by until the bush burned. In the quiet, God called his name. Moses didn't feel ready, but God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Ever feel forgotten or stuck in a season that feels dry? God often speaks in the wilderness when we least expect it. Like Moses, your calling may show up in the very place you thought was a dead end. Don't ignore the burning bush. They thought it was oversea in front, enemies behind. But then God said, move forward. The water split. Fear turned into faith. And the impossible became their escape route. When life traps you between pressure and panic, God makes a way where there is no way. Don't freeze in fear. If He led you here, He will carry you through. What looks like an end may be your miracle moment. God didn't whisper from the clouds, He thundered on a mountain, not to control us, but to free us. His commands aren't chains, they're a path to life. We live in a world with shifting rules, but God's standards never change. The 10 Commandments still speak, not just what to avoid, but how to live free. For by His grace we are saved. No hammers, no arrows, just footsteps, trumpets, and a shout. When faith moves, first walls fall. We all face walls: fear, addiction, doubt. But God doesn't always ask for force, just faith. Keep walking, even when it looks foolish. Your shout might be your breakthrough. No, God shrunk the army on purpose. He doesn't need numbers. He needs your yes. With just 300, He proved enough is never about size. When your resources shrink, don't panic. God might be preparing to show off. Small things in God's hands are stronger than armies. You plus God equals always enough.